Hello, Ombute Devi here again. I'm going to tap into the field and see. Again, I'm exploring how to connect and to the field or to a person and see if we can help with perspectives. So, see what is running, that is alive, and that is in your favor or in our favor. If there's any messages that might help us if we're going through something or sitting in something particular. So you sit with people in person. So this is a whole new experiment that I'm doing to see if I can do this online because a lot of people are doing tarot and angel cards, and I do that personally. And then they sort of pick up something, they send something. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to see what it would be like if I could connect to something. And the earlier post, we picked up an angel card and it said vision. And I connected to a visual field that was quite interesting. And I shared that. And that's all I'm going to do, basically. And because there's no time and place in the quantum field, because it all depends on wherever your presence is, there it is. And it's sort of like irrelatable to that time and place than where you are when you're seeing it, when you're hearing it. So I'm going to come into this place by connecting with my heart, taking a few breaths in my heart, and just sort of grounding myself, coming into a little bit of coherence. And I will invite you to do the same if you're listening, and to just clear the field here. I ask to surrender my ignorance and my arrogance for my deepest healing and for my highest love and joy in service and in support of what we are here to hear, listen, touch, and see, acknowledge. And so also any discords between us from the past, present, future, when I say past, other lifetimes that we might have in our relations, that I just ask to have that surrendered up to solution consciousness, to love consciousness, and anything that is not in favor of unconditional love to be just commanded back to its own source, and not to be present here with us today. So, yes, and we ask for protection through working through these medias, through computers and being on social media and all of these things. We are connecting into our organic field, but we are, communicating and sharing our connection in our organic field through these artificial pathways. So we ask for protection. I ask for my guides and my tribe to protect those pathways. And so we just call in and invoke all of that for this conversation. Um, yeah, one more time, huh? So last time I pulled a vision card, so angel card, and there was a lot that came in that I was able to share with you, whether you have had similar experiences or not. I know that I had one person. Thank you so much, Eve, for sharing that you as well had a sense of a similar experience that I shared with, that I was sort of seeing, cognizing. Um, and that was that there was new souls coming into this dimension, and there was a lot of seeing uh, being that it had to do with our consciousness and where we are going, and how important it is for us to be in our goodness, for this consciousness to really awaken. And so this is really interesting because I sort of walk my way into the seeing, into the conversation, into the field. So the more I sit and start to feel into it, the more it opens up. And so this is my second video today because the first one I started and I felt kind of not connected, and so I just sort of erased it. But I had picked up a card, an angel card, which I'm going to do another one too here. But I had picked up an angel card and it said birth. And for some reason, I didn't throw it back in the batch. I kind of kept it, and I said, okay, I'm going to do another recording and see if I can sense into something. And already talking about my previous post and what was shown to me, there, I'm now seeing that there's a thread here because the other card was a vision, and this card is birth. And so, what I'm sensing here is that there's a connection here. So let's see what I can see that it might be actually available for me to see here. And what we were kind of starting to understand a little bit because of other you two sensing that there's something coming. So there's something coming. Well, we know that there's a lot of influences already on our planet in this dimension. Um, and when I say dimension, I have to actually just sort of, talk a little bit about how I use these words. When I say dimensions, what that means to me, like the dimensions are inside of us, because we have a spectrum, we have a consciousness spectrum, and depending on our own work, our own growth, our own maturity, our own healing, how much of that consciousness we are able to access in one lifetime. But we have a certain, connection or spectrum open, and we can connect to it, and I mean, because that's who we are, right? Some people talk about like our super soul, and that's different for me, because I do feel like there's a vast amount, when we talk about unlimited amount of potential within a soul's consciousness, the super soul consciousness. But in each life and each life form, there's a sort of like a delegated spectrum of consciousness, just like in three-dimensional, humans, we do have a sort of visual spectrum and an audible spectrum, and there's a spectrum in which we see things, but we also know that there's other things we can't see and we can't hear, but it's still there, right? So we understand that. So when we were talking about what was coming down from a different perspective. It wasn't really coming down from a different dimension. It was coming from another consciousness, that's all I'm seeing, like a larger consciousness. And I can't, I can't see the end of the consciousness. I just see an aspect of the consciousness. Um, And from that consciousness are these little beings coming. And like I said last time, they look like they were not alive, that they were like sleeping, and they were sleeping. Now I see they were sleeping. And for some reason, like some of them now I see that I'm talking about them. I'm connecting back to that field, that vibration, and I see a few, okay, so they're, There are a few that are like sitting up, like their heads are starting to like move. Just their heads, not so that not their whole bodies are sitting up, but I see that they're sort of like starting to look up. And so when we were talking about that, they're coming in, and there is a set point. There is a point in which we are sort of like that happens where they all just open up, like a boiling point, like there's a boiling point and then, there's temperature, like everything has a set point and when it sprouts, there's a condition that have to be in place for something to bloom, right? And so we talked about a little bit of that. We touched on that there was sort of a place of goodness in us, that we were asked to come into our own goodness and to be in the goodness, because when we're sitting in the goodness, what we see, so this was another really interesting connection because of the angel card was vision. What we see is depending on where we are sitting, what we are identifying ourselves as, so we see from whatever filter we are identifying, like the identifying filter. So we see through that. So again, I hope I'm making sense to this because I'm trying to sort of go back a little bit of what started from the last post, the last video, and now, because I feel like there's actually a thread here. So I was talking about the goodness. It was showing me that it's so important that we come into our goodness, that we hold a really high personal frequency, and that we see from there, and that we respond from there. And the more we do that, we actually set a collective frequency, a sort of a temperature, a goodness temperature that allows these, I'm just going to say beings, these forms of consciousness, because they feel like beings, these forms of consciousness, these souls that are coming in, that they are starting, that they are set at a particular set point, that when we come to a particular level of that. So now it's showing me numbers. It's showing me numbers. It's showing me like 33. It's showing me 33. It's interesting that it's showing me 33 because I have a very personal relationship with 33. So, could be me. Just like, we always have to kind of like start with ourselves, right? Like, okay, so because my soul number in numerology is 33. It's a master number. So, so is that wrong? I'm just sitting with it a little bit. Okay, so they're showing me 33. So there's something about 33, duplication of 33 and duplication of 33, something like that, that there's, once it gets to those two threes, and it's showing me that there's another three coming up, and then there's another three coming up, and another three coming up. So there's something like a domino effect that, so I'm gonna just, all right. So I'm just, how I'm interpreting what I'm seeing is that these numbers are showing me that the temperature, the 33, the temperature is like when we are coming up to a frequency where enough of us, enough of the consciousness, enough of us have reached a sort of a number of 33, not also only physically, but also in personal vibration. so that our personal vibration is not low. And it's showing me that 100 represents a scale of a thousands and a thousands and a thousands, but 100 is a scale that encompasses all of those numbers, because it's one and the infinite potential of the zeros. And the zeros can go on and go on and go on. But within those zeros is showing me three, 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 three. So, um, oh, and it's also showing me our three lower centers, lower centers. So it's now showing me, and again, I'm coming back to the birth card. It's showing me that when we have birth goodness, consciousness in our all the lower centers, when we have come into a certain vibration, when these centers are vibrating, um, I'm not saying that you're sitting there vibrating, but when it has a resonance, when it resonates in your own goodness. Let's go back to that. So it's like try to make it simple. Instead of resonating in this in a collective lower vibration where, like, for example, like fear and control and manipulation, and like those are lower vibrations because it takes your breath away, it holds it, and you don't feel the freedom, you don't feel access of your own joy in those frequencies. um, so when you have more breath, when you have more freedom, it's showing me that if you are above, 33, if you're coming into higher threes, like higher 30s into the 40s, now 50, like it's showing me like once you're into the 55, 5 5, there's a lot of freedom there. There's a lot of freedom there. Okay, so there's a range. So it's showing me that when we are working on anything, whether it's our health, our relations, our careers, our inner, dialogues or relations with ourselves, right? That everything gets processed and moved through these lower centers, because these are our physical centers. And it is important to not get stuck in those, meaning that you cultivate as much freedom around all the things that are moving, so that you can keep witnessing it, but not becoming what you're witnessing. Does that make sense? Because it's showing me like there's a lot moving, but you just can't sit in it too long, because then what happens is you kind of dissolve into that lower frequency yourself, and then you can't rise up. Your breath doesn't rise up into the higher frequencies. And what is happening is coming into the heart. So what it wants to do is opening more breath between the heart and the lower centers and the heart and the lower center. So there is a pulse, an opening there, so that you can digest experiences, so that you, in all the experiences of your life, that you can digest it and process it and take out the goodies and like release, like really know how to release, and be able to get rid of waste. And so on a physical level, like your lymphatics, your digestive, eliminatory organs, all of those things, of course, right? On a physical plane is involved there too. So it's showing me that you can you can get to it in different ways. And it's important to do it, to be very aware of the physical body, because these are the physical centers that relates to the three-dimensional. Okay, this is a lot. Let's go back to the birth. It's showing that the birth that we are birthing, because apparently we are becoming so aware that there's got to be another way. Of course. And the way is us. We are the way. And we got to remember that we are the way. And so the way is our breath. When I say the way is our breath, meaning that we have to have freedom. We have to have freedom in everything that we do, everything that we are, everything that we're thinking. If a thought causes us to hold our breath, if a thought causes us to breathe more shallow, quicker, if a thought causes us to, not fully feel the extent of our fullness, then we know that that's a limited thought. It's okay. Sometimes we have to have them, but we have to also know how to get back to the spaciousness, to the bigger breath. So that's on a very physical and practical level, so that you can just look and see how you feel. Because sometimes it's not that easy to feel your centers. If you haven't worked in the subtle bodies that much, you might not feel or see any, when a center is not moving properly. Unless you're using a pendulum, you can, see if it's working or not, meaning you just feel the rotational field. And there's a way it indicates if it's in alignment or if it's out of alignment or if it's overactive or underactive, so to speak, right? Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so again, we know there's something coming into our field. We're coming into consciousness. We're coming into receiving more support in this dimensional field. These supports are going to be activated through our consciousness when we have raised our own individual consciousness to a certain set point. And for some reason, it's talking about the 333s. And it also brought the how it's relevant to our lower three centers, and that the birthing of us, when we're talking about birthing our own inner perspective, expanded perspective, is that we have freedom in those lower centers. And I'm not talking about going in and doing shadow work. Actually, I'm not talking about using your mind so much, about going into those nooks and crannies with your mind. I'm actually more I'm talking about because these are physical, to get very physical and practical with these movements. So to use your five senses equally, the touch, the feel, the taste, the sense. So it's going back to the elementals. And it's very important that we come back into the elementals. Oh God, there's so many flies here. To keep birthing this particular climate. So I'm going to say climate. There's a climate. There's an internal climate that will then be represented outside as an external climate. So we're going to see that, you know, be mirrored back to us. So, okay, so now it's saying that, okay, so you're going to see that when you are in a place where the external temperatures, when the external climates, now we're actually talking about climates. This is interesting. It's talking about climates. That when we talked about that, when there is a temperature that is not conducive to thriving, that it's reaching for a reset, that something has been out of balance for so long that it's looking for a reset. So it's looking for a reset. Now, nature has its own reset. And it's talking about as if when we come in, because we have cultivated such a an intelligence now that we understand how we are part of nature and how we actually can also influence the natural flow of things based on how we move in our own world, in our inner world. So that, and again, it comes back to the goodness of us. It comes back to really birthing this. I can come back to that word, birthing this new freedom in the lower centers, so that there's room for this new set point. So it is the temperature. So nature is looking for a reset, and so it's gonna be quite okay. It looks like turbulence. I see turbulence. It's going to be a lot of turbulence. Looking for a reset, because when something is off, it kind of goes to the extreme and then goes to the other extreme, and it goes, so because it has polarities, and because these polarities now are they've always been available, like real high extreme temperature, real high low temperature. Now we're talking about actual temperature. um, And so it's going to swing the fat full spectrum of temperature to find its reset point. And so what it's showing us, if we come into, there's a correlation. So let me connect the two. When we have opened up more freedom in our lower centers, when we have come into, what's a word here that we can, oh, well, okay. I'm going to say this again. When we come back, when we come back to our elementals and get right with our elementals, and when we live in harmony with the elementals, because that there's an intelligence there. We have moved away from the intelligence there. Um, we can understand something about ourselves, which we understood thousands of years ago. Okay, long time ago, you're showing me we understood these things long, long, long time ago. But for some reason, okay, so we have expanded in one particular direction of intelligence at a cost of giving up a different level of intelligence, because so what we call intelligence is one level, one aspect, one perspective of intelligence. So it's showing us that we got to go back to this very old, rudimental, primordial intelligence that actually has the solution. Okay, it says has the solutions because within it is the infinite potential for creation. But infinite potential for creation within the connection of the natural, within the connection of source, because we are it, unless we want to not be it anymore. So it's saying, unless we want to not be human, not be of nature, not be sourced from nature, not be part of that intelligence that has created all and everything that we see, hear, smell, think, and touch, unless we don't want to be part of that anymore, then we can go ahead and not do any of this. So it feels to me that as we come into a set point of ourselves, within ourselves, we actually are supporting the overall, the overall. So there's this movement, the overall sort of development or unfolding, or what's the word to say here? Um, it's like the shifting. It's looking for a set point. the overall kind of back and forth, teetering back and forth. It's fine. It's trying to find like because we are part of this biology. Our biology is the highest technology in on the planet in the universe because we are of that intelligence. So so it's saying that if we are not aligned with it within ourselves, then we're not going to find solutions outside. Okay, we can clean up everything that has been, um, that has okay, it's showing me all these disasters. Okay, this is enough. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of disasters. Like we call it natural disasters, but it's a lot of devastating disasters happening and coming forward, and it's going to happen. I guess. Okay, so wow, okay. All right. So we are saying here that it's up to us. It's really up to us. We feel like we're behind the curve. We feel like it's already happened. We feel like we are on this momentum that can't be stopped. There's actually what they're saying, there's several momentums. And what they're actually saying now, what this consciousness is showing me now, is that we can actually potentiate a momentum that has a particular quality, a particular intelligence, that it doesn't need much. That momentum doesn't have to be as big, but it is 100% more potent for redoing a reset in the natural world. So, wow, it's a lot. This is a lot. Oh my God, this is a lot. Okay. And I'm just, again, anything that I say here, just take it. If it resonates with you, fine. If it doesn't, just don't bother. If you're still listening to this, thank you for humoring me, being here with me as I'm exploring doing this just online like this without actually having a specific person here with a specific problem or situation. Um, Okay, so we had this word angel card birth. So and I like I said, I pulled that on my first post. Um, I'm gonna pull another one to see if if we can summarize it because this is a long post. I'm gonna see if we can summarize this. There's a lot said, and I don't know if I make any sense. It's sometimes I'm lost for the right words. So let's see here. So we're asking, for a word that will help us with a bit more clarity and just kind of anchor this whole seeing down and or gratitude. It says gratitude. Gratitude. So you see there the picture here is an angel and there's a sun coming up and there's two hills there. And so again, gratitude. So this is a gratitude. And yes, I am so grateful to see that. And so, oh, okay. So this is the thing. All right. So this is the thing. There just actually is a literal thing here. All right. It says, okay. So this is interesting because I'm thinking about what it's showing me the gratitude. Like every morning when you wake up, that you turn towards the sun and just feel the gratitude. I mean, you could say thank you, thank you, thank you. Sometimes I keep saying, fake it till you make it. But really, to say thank you. And even if the sun has gone up way before you have gone up, or when you get up and you see the sun, to just open yourself up and say thank you, saying thank you, thank you. This practice, it's a devotional practice, it's a devotion to your own light because that's your source. The light is your source. You say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to your source. Without the sun, we wouldn't be here. And if it gets too out of control, if it doesn't take us in, if it's not, if it's not stop relating to us and our need and our love, it takes on a different experience. It will naturally. Um, but when we are in gratitude, and when we are in gratitude for our son, um, this is part of the birth. This is part of the birth. This is part of us really opening up freedom in our lower centers, that we start to reconnect again with the elementals, that we come out. We can do it inside of our house, but if you can be outside and feel the rays and just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and just be aware of um, it's showing me that the strongest ray is in the center of your body, even though you feel it on your skin. What is actually happening is that yeah, it's not saying to look straight at the sun, but it is saying that your heart is actually looking straight at the sun. Okay. And that is really important. That is an orientation practice for your heart. Okay. So again, it's showing that you open up your hands, open up your chest, take a few breaths through your heart, and just feel the gratitude um, towards yourself and source and the sun, the light. So, oh God, there's so much here coming through now. So one of the things I'm just going to say for anyone that is saying, okay, what the hell is this? Anything that you eat has the sun in it. Um, we are still depending on eating other animals, eating other, plants and fruits and all the kind of things, right? Plant-based or animal-based. We eat because we have to just keep our bodies going. And we have to breathe. And all of that is an exchange of sun, of light. And so what this practice is wanting to establish is a right relation to that, because we cannot just simply be fueled by the sun. We're not like these electric cars that gets charged. Uh, we are on our way. It's showing us. I see a future timeline. There's so many timelines available right now. I see those, and there's like again, there's no past, present, or future. There's no future or past. Again, it's showing me back and forth, back and forth, back. It's just now. And now is saying that, yes, we are in a place where there's other timelines, parallel timelines, where in different dimensions, we are actually opening up to the sun and we are charged by the sun. We don't have to eat anybody to be fueled. So once we start, but now we do. We haven't really evolved our biology yet. And the only reason why we haven't is because we haven't been in the higher frequency of goodness. Again, it's coming back to relations, because we still have to eat. And because of we have to eat, we have created a society that is based now on, fear and control and all of that stuff, because we still have to eat. We still have to consume. So we have become such consumers, but we have lost touch of why we are actually are consuming in the first place. So it's showing us that coming into this is a simple practice, coming in into gratitude of source, of sun, and getting into right relations and understanding that everything that we do during that day has to do directly or indirectly in how we actually bring this light into our body for nourishment and survival and thriving. That everything that we do is to sustain ourselves first so that we start having connecting the dots, so that we start to have gratitude for every step of the way, for everything and anything that makes it possible for you to eat what you're eating and to digest what you're digesting and taking in what you're taking in and keeping you, thriving and alive, that you are in right relation to all of that because that is how sort of this dimension is constructed, and we're not all of us are not able to come into a higher dimensional reality until we are in right relations. And that's what we have to, because coming into right relations means that we are compassionate, empathetic, we have integrity, that we have gratitude and love, and we consider each other. So that it's a very different level of consciousness, and there's high intelligence in that. And okay, so it's saying that actually the highest intelligence right now that we're looking for to be established and grounded and stabilized in this consciousness is kindness. Kindness, not niceness, kindness. And so that is a form of high intelligence. Um, joy. Joy is an ultimate intelligence. But we have forgotten because joy, we look at happiness. We're not talking about happiness. Happiness is something that we now are chasing because we have lost the connection and understanding of joy intelligence as well. So that we talk about happiness, which is more of like an emotion, not a state of being. So again, there's all these things that are connected to these very simple practices. So I just want to open up perspectives here. Why we do what we do, like what's happening, where we are, and how we can very simply but very profoundly affect a resolution and cultivate a deeper access to actually create something. And I'm not saying, when I talk about co-creating, we are not co-creating, we are creating as one. We are creating as one. This whole thing about co-creating still makes that we're separate. And what I want to say is we are creating as one. And so that's why I'm saying, get back into your goodness, get in front of the sun in the morning or the light in the morning and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Come into the relations of everything that you touch, knowing that it's about the exchange of the light, and just be grateful. Like, say thank you when you eat, say thank you when you drink, say thank you when you breathe. The trees are converting these lights exchange, where for carbon dioxide and oxygen, we are exchanging the light all the time. We are together, we are connected, we're not separate at all. So just be in where. So we have this birth today, and we have the gratitude today. It's a lot of stuff. I don't know if you can make any sense of any of it, but that is what this consciousness is showing me. Um, and whew, I'm getting very hot. This is what was happening. I'm sweating. Um, And there's so much more there, but I'm walking into, you can walk into more and more and more, but I'm going to stop there because I feel like that's enough for today. And I'm so thankful and so grateful. And I say so much love to each and every one of you. And if anyone is still here watching this, listening to me, and if you have anything to reflect on or that you have experienced that is similar to this, or that you have cognition of, then please let me know. It helps with confirmation. It helps with also, sort of spreading this, this ripple effect, because somewhere there might be a thread, a common thread, you know. And so we're just looking to understand ourselves more and understand what's going on now and understand how we can communicate in different ways and that we can tap into different forms and levels of intelligence. And so, yeah, I'm very, very excited to continue this. And yeah, thank you again. So much love. And I'll see you next time. Mwah.